How can a child save us all if he's sentenced to die? Tell me, Nikolaos. Tell me before you let our son go.
Where we begin does not define who we will become.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey is an action role-playing video game that is played in third person. At the start of the game, the player can choose between playing as Alexios or Cassandra, two Greek mercenaries and descendants of Spartan king Leonidas I. Aside from the main campaign, players may freely explore a big open world set in Greece on foot or on horseback. As the player explores the world, they will come across numerous non-player characters, NPCs, that will assign side objectives to them. They also locate interesting spots, wipe out strongholds and camps, investigate graves and shipwrecks, and hunt for buried treasures. Unlocking synchronization points in numerous places in Greece that function as quick travel points is also possible. Through exploring and hunting wildlife, players may also gather numerous crafting supplies such as iron ore, wood, leather, metal, and rare stones. Other optional activities include battling in a gladiatorial arena and completing time-limited rewards and contracts. Odyssey, unlike previous games in the series, has two modes of play. Guided mode uses waypoints to quickly display the player the locations of their things, whilst exploration mode requires players to figure out the locations themselves after receiving brief hints from other NPCs.
You're old enough now.
Initial release date, October 1, 2018 7:0 AM WIB. Series, Assassin's Creed. Mode, single-player video game. Platforms, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, Xbox Cloud Gaming, Google Stadia, Microsoft Windows, Amazon Luna. Nominations: the Game Award for Game of the Year, Genre, Adventure Game, Fighting Game, Developers, Ubisoft, Ubisoft Montreal, Ubisoft Quebec, Ubisoft Singapore.
It's all over.
With the world poised on the brink of war, Vault-Tec is reporting a record number.
But
Folks,
Fallout 4 is an action role-playing game released in 2015 by Bethesda Game Studios and Bethesda Softworks. It is the fourth major game in the Fallout series, and it was published for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One on November 10, 2015. The game takes place in a post-apocalyptic open-world setting that includes the city of Boston and the surrounding Massachusetts area known as the Commonwealth. As the bridge out of Sanctuary Hills, it uses a variety of local monuments, including Bunker Hill, Fort Independence, and the Old North Bridge at Concord. The primary plot is set in 2287, 10 years after the events of Fallout 3 and 210 years after the Great War, which inflicted devastating nuclear destruction throughout the United States. The player takes control of the sole survivor, who awakens from a long-term cryogenic slumber in Vault 111, an underground nuclear fallout shelter. After witnessing their spouse's death and captivity, the sole survivor sets out into the Commonwealth in quest of their missing child. The player explores the game's decaying landscape, doing various objectives, assisting factions, and gaining experience points to level up and improve their character skills. The ability to establish and administer communities, as well as a sophisticated crafting system where materials scavenged from the environment, may be used to make narcotics and explosives, upgrade weapons and armor, and construct, furnish, and expand settlements are new aspects to the franchise. Fallout 4 is also the series' first game to have full voice acting for the protagonist. Initial release date, November 10, 2015. Mode, single-player video game. Developer, Bethesda Game Studios. Designer, Emil Pagliarulo. Awards, BAFTA Video Game Award for Best Video Game. Platforms, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Microsoft Windows, Xbox Series X and Series S, Xbox Cloud Gaming. Genre, Open World Game, Adventure Game. Video Game Award for Best Soundtrack.
Moved from Brooklyn.
I mean... It's fine.
See you in a few weeks, Spider-Man. New York's only Spider-Man.
And the other Spider-Man's gone. I just keep making things worse and worse.
You're Spider-Man. You can fix this. Your way.
Marvel's Spider-Man. Miles Morales is an action-adventure game released in 2020 by Sony Interactive Entertainment and developed by Insomniac Games. It was inspired by the character's decade-long comic book mythos and the 2018 animated film Spider-Man. Into the Spider-Verse, which helped popularize it, and is based on the Marvel Comics character Miles Morales. The game is a sequel to Marvel's Spider-Man 2018, as well as the second chapter in Insomniac's Spider-Man franchise. The plot revolves around Miles' attempt to combine his civilian image with his duty as the second Spider-Man, as his new home, Harlem, is threatened by a battle between the Roxxon Energy Corporation and an army of high-tech outlaws known as the Underground, commanded by the enigmatic Tinkerer. The game is played in third person, with an emphasis on Miles' traversal and fighting abilities. Miles may freely roam New York City, interacting with individuals, accomplishing quests, and unlocking new devices and attire as he progresses through the main plot or completes chores. Aside from the main quest, players may perform side missions to get access to more content and treasures. Combat relies on chaining strikes to stun many foes while evading harm by exploiting the surroundings and webs. Initial release date: November 12, 2020. Mode: single-player video game. Platforms: PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Microsoft Windows. Developer: Insomniac Games, Nixxes Software. Awards: BAFTA Video Game Award for Music, Genre. Action-Adventure Game, Fighting Game. Platform Game, Adventure. Nominated: BAFTA Video Game Award for Music.
How much are you willing to sacrifice? To suffer.
I have given up everything.
Not everything.
My lord, we have located...
Middle-earth. Shadow of War is an action role-playing video game released in 2017 by Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment and developed by Monolith Productions. It is the sequel to Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor, which was published on October 10, 2017 for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Shadow of War continues the previous game's story, which is based on J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium and takes place between the events of Peter Jackson's The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings cinematic trilogies, both of which the game is inspired by. The Saga of Talion, the Gondorian ranger who linked with the wraith of the elf lord Celebrimbor, continues as they create a new ring of power to gather an army to confront Sauron. The game expands on the Nemesis system established in Shadow of Mordor, enabling Talion to recruit followers from a variety of Middle-earth species, including Guruks and Allogs, and devise complicated tactics to fulfill tasks. Shadow of War received a generally positive reception from critics, albeit with more mixed feelings than its predecessor. Praise was aimed at the gameplay and an improved Nemesis system, while story elements and changes to established characters received some criticism, as did the inclusion of microtransactions and loot boxes. Initial release date: September 27, 2017. Designer: Bob Roberts. Publisher: Warner Bros. International Enterprises. Platforms: PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Microsoft Windows, Xbox Cloud Gaming, iOS. Developer: Monolith Productions, IUGO, Jin. Action role-playing game, hack and butcher, adventure. Modes: multiplayer video game, single-player video game.
What is Eternum? The substance of legends. The pulse of adventure. The glory of triumph. Eternum is life eternal.
New World is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, MMORPG, that was released on September 28, 2021 by Amazon Games Orange County. The game was originally intended to be released in May 2020, then again in August 2021, but was pushed back to its current release date. Players colonize a fictitious continent patterned after the Americas in the mid-17th century. While New World was originally intended to be a free-to-play game, it now uses the usual business model of a pay-to-play game, a historical distinction from many, mostly much older, MMORPGs that traditionally use subscription models in support of large, frequent noob upgrades. Microtransactions in the form of skins are also available, as well as a limited range of both aesthetic and gameplay impacting functional objects for use within the player housing system.
What is Eternum?
Initial release date, September 9, 2021. Designer, John Liberty. Mode, multiplayer video game. Developer, Amazon Game Studios, Double Helix Games. Platforms, Microsoft Windows. Genre, massively multiplayer online role-playing game.
Maybe when your mother's finished mourning your father, I'll keep her in black on your behalf. We got lawmen in 3 different states after us. They chased us from the west, they chased us over the mountains.
We'll need an extra gun.
This place.
Laws. With federal officials and the top bounty hunters in the country hot on their tails, the gang must loot, steal, and battle their way across America's harsh heartland to survive. As the gang's internal tensions develop, Arthur must choose between his own principles and allegiance to the group that reared him. The game is presented from both a first-person and third-person camera perspective, and players are free to explore the dynamic open environment. Gunplay, heists, hunting, horseback riding, interacting with non-player characters, and preserving the character's honor rating through moral decisions and acts are all game aspects. The reaction of law police and bounty hunters to crimes committed by players is governed by a bounty system similar to the Wanted system from the Grand Theft Auto series. Initial release date, October 26, 2018. Developer, Rockstar Games. Series, Red Dead. Platforms, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Microsoft Windows, Google Stadia. Genre, Western, Open World Game, Entertainment. Awards, the Game Award for Best Performance. Modes, Multiplayer Video Game, Single-Player Video Game.
You should have acted. They're already here. The Elder Scrolls told of their return. Their defeat was merely a delay. To the time after Oblivion opened.
The Elder Scrolls V. Skyrim is an action RPG video game developed by Bethesda Game Studios and released by Bethesda Softworks. This is the 5th chapter in the main The Elder Scrolls series, after The Elder Scrolls IV, Oblivion, and was published globally on November 11, 2011 for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360. The core plot of the game revolves around the player character, the Dragonborn, and their quest to battle Alduin the Planet Eater, a dragon who is foretold to destroy the world. This game takes place 200 years after the events of the Oblivion games in Skyrim, the fictional continent of Tamriel's northernmost province. The player progresses through the game by completing objectives and developing his character by upgrading talents. The game follows the open-world trend established by previous games by enabling players to travel anywhere and at any time in the game while ignoring or postponing the main plot forever. Initial release date, November 11, 2011. Developer, Bethesda Game Studios. Engine, Creation Engine. Mode, Single-Player Video Game. Platforms, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PlayStation 5. Awards, Spike TV Video Game Award for Best RPG, Genre, Entertainment, Open World Game, Fantasy.